Hey everybody on YouTube that comes to my channel. This is Annette Dion, host and creator of the Psychic News Network, and it is September. Do I do this every time? September 14th. Right? Yes. It's the middle of September. Seems like September just started. I hope you're doing great. I hope that you had a decent few days. I haven't seen you since September 11th, and I want to remind you that I have a church of spirituality every Sunday. Airs at 7 p.m. live, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Facebook Live. When I have 1,000 subscribers, I can do all this stuff live on YouTube. So anybody that can help me out, it's totally appreciated if you feel like it. Also, another item of business, I did a video with my good buddy Corey Kookaroo of Bridge Cape Ann. If you want to check that out, that was yesterday. So a lot of the same things are in the news and then some. So let's get to the news, shall we? I'm going to go to the Cosmic Tarot and see what's up. So we have a full moon coming in a little less than a week on Monday. I have a sense that we're going to really be feeling that. I always look over this way because my calendar's hanging on the wall. In case you're ever wondering what I'm looking at. I'm not like tuning in when I do that. I'm more tuning in when I'm looking this way. So, Gavin Newsom, I have told you that his position is secure. And I really, really need to point out that we are being given a lot of clarification for those that, you know, like to read between the lines. Let me turn my light on. I forgot to turn my little lights on. We're getting a lot of clarification. Let's shed some light on the subject about what is happening to our country. Let's just be clear. What's happening to our country is a minority, like Joy Reid brought up apartheid, which is what happened in South Africa with apartheid. The rich minority found ways to wrest control from the general public, especially the people that were black in South Africa. So what's happening, and that was horrific, as we may remember, what's happening, you know, that's why Nelson Mandela was imprisoned, fighting for everybody's rights. So anyway, what's happening in the United States of America? That has been happening since the onset of, I mean, just more intensely, since the onset of the 45 syndrome, let's call it the 45 syndrome, is, you know, people illegitimately taking control from the masses, doing whatever they can. It doesn't matter. Nothing is off limits. Doing whatever they possibly can. Playing dirty, being slimy, not caring if people live or die, including their constituents, especially including their constituents, putting people in harm's way, not helping them in a natural disaster, for instance, not helping in a global pandemic, not helping people to be safe, not looking out for people's literal welfare and health and well-being and happiness, and now we're seeing not even caring about the children. So, is that enough for you? Did I fill up your plate? So, this Gavin Newsom thing is a symptom of that. If you see Mr. Elder, who's working real hard to recall Gavin Newsom, and honestly, I really don't know why anybody would want that job, to be the governor of such a huge state that is facing the states, you know, so many areas of California are on fire, you know, the pandemic and everything. I don't understand why Elder would want that position, except to just say that he has that position and to be all powerful and to just push his conservative right-wing, extreme agenda. the people of California, the guides are telling me the people of California are waking up really fast, really hard, really a lot. Let's take a look at that. And you know, I had mentioned on Bridge Cape Ann yesterday's vid that I was just reminding people that a few weeks back with this recall thing in California, I had said, well, I had pulled the Three of Swords. And I had said I was concerned about having pulled the Three of Swords, but I really do get that that's Gavin Newsom's, you know, really his heartbreak, his heartache. I mean, you don't take a position like that if you're a good human. We all have faults. We all mess up. We all make mistakes. It's part of being human, but you don't take a position like that if you really have in your heart that you want to be a public servant. And you know, you don't take a position like that lightly, and you don't take a position like that without a lot of, you know, planning, like how you want to make things better as a public servant to his constituents and to the people. I really, in my heart, believe that Gavin Newsom is doing the best that he can, the best job that he can, especially given the circumstances. And I wouldn't want that job. And guess what? Is it Larry Elder? I think it's Larry. He doesn't want that job either. He doesn't want that job. He doesn't want the job of taking care of Californians. That's not what he's after. He's after being like a big man who can say that he's governor of California. You know what I'm saying? You get it. You get it. I've said enough about that. Let's pull some cards. The people, yeah, the people have the power. That's a strength card. The people have the power. Now, I'm seeing, well, you know, Elder already called voter fraud before this is a thing now, right? Call voter fraud. It's been a thing for a while before the votes are in. Can I just remind everyone, you know, because you know, when things are repeated over and over and over, you start to go, oh, well, maybe it was a thing. People faking their vote, are you with me? That was never a thing. It's fraud that they're saying this voter fraud. I'm just reminding everyone, because I think it's easy to forget. You know, things seep into our subconscious at all times. They seep in. It's like, oh, wow, all of a sudden I find myself wanting Humira. I'm just kidding. All of a sudden I'm asking my doctor. I'm just making a point, right? So voter fraud was never a thing. I grew up in this country. Voter fraud was never a thing. The only time that we started to hear about voter fraud was when 45, I mean in a big way, was when 45 used it again and again and again. If I lose this, then it's because somebody cheated. Talk about juvenile. Talk about childlike, and that's an insult to children. I remember Obama was being interviewed after 45 didn't accept the result of the election, and Obama was saying about that very thing, if his daughters, Malaya and I'm forgetting the other one's name, if Obama's daughters played a sports game, maybe they were playing basketball and their team lost, and his daughters came home and they were all pouty about it, and saying the other team cheated, you know, like as a father, he'd say, no, come on, let's do fair is fair. They won fair and square. They played better. The Republicans that are doing this is where we're going to have clarity. And it's starting to happen. It's taken some time. Here's where we're going to start having clarity to a point where we reach a tipping point, and most people are very clear about what's going on. They're trying to turn democracy into autocracy. They're trying to have minority rule. They're trying to have the wealthy run this country. And, you know, it's not lost on me that the wealthy, you know, greedy, power-hungry, dictator-type Republicans in positions of leadership, they want to run this country, but they don't want to see democracy succeed. They don't want the people to have a voice. I'm going to tell you that again. These Republicans that are dictators do not want the people of America to have a voice. If you want to see a country where the people don't have a voice, look at China. They shut down the newspaper that was it was several months ago. They just shut down the newspaper. They started arresting journalists. And who I hate to even think of what happened to them. Look at North Korea. Those people don't have a voice. That's a very extreme example. But that coup that 45 attempted on January 6th was an effort to get us into that kind of a situation as a country. To get us under dictatorship rule. Okay. Sorry, I just did a big segue. I was talking about this recall thing in California. The people have the power. Then I went on my rant about how we have to show our power, right? The people of California will. The guides are saying, because they are really angry. The Two of Wands and the Two of Cups. This indicates, these twos indicate things hanging in the balance in California. But the Two of Cups is like this is indicative of the people of California getting on Newsom's side. So like, let's do this. This is the energy of let's do this. Now, I want to tell you, Elder's going to come back. He already told us he was going to, just like 45 did. This is the playbook. This is the part that's getting very crystal clear. They have a playbook. They might as well make a manual. How to not agree with the democratic process and how to convince people that voter fraud is a real thing. And you know, who they try to convince is the people that can be, you know, people that are gullible. That's who they try to convince, and people that feel like, you know, unfortunately, people that are kind of angry. Don't be angry. Don't be angry unless it's constructive anger, and you can do something with it. I'm going to take a little segue to tell you that Tarot at the Castle starts tomorrow. If you'd like to sign up, go to hammondcastle.org. We are working out the quirks today and tomorrow. There won't be any quirks. We're just making sure there won't be. It's a live stream class from a medieval castle. hammondcastle.org. If you'd like to sign up, please do. Okay, I want to go into a little bit of 45 because there's a book coming out by, thank God for Bob Woodward. What a great investigative, you know, writer. I don't think he calls himself a journalist, maybe. He wrote a book with somebody else recounting what happened after the election. And I almost feel like saying, you know what, if you just asked the psychic would have told you exactly what was going on. Maybe they'll bring that back into politics, like the way it was many years ago, when emperors and kings had oracles. So anyway, my point is that election night, when I saw 45 get up and say, we won, it was like 10 o'clock at night. It's like, you don't understand. It takes a long time to count these ballots. The point is, he didn't want the ballots counted, which is why I was so horrified to see people going, stop the count, because it's literally saying stop democracy. Between the election night time and the time of January 6th, I was in such a state of, I just didn't know what to say or do about what I was picking up on, because I was picking up on it. I'm not the only one. We all were picking up on it. It's just that those of us that have been practicing psychic skills for decades, like myself, were like, oh my God. Like, we felt it. We were in grave danger, not just on January 6th, but in the time leading up to January 6th. Not too long ago, I did a video, and I think what I said was, when we start finding out the details of what went on behind the scenes with 45, it's gonna make your hair curl. Well, I have straight hair, so if your hair is curly, it's gonna make your hair straight. It's really gonna be like, but for the grace of God, we made it through that. He was ready to take us into a nuclear war. Now let's remember, the reason that we have arms agreements is like we live in a very precarious time since the invention of the nuclear bomb. We're always teetering on the edge of complete obliteration of the human species and the planet. And we don't think about it much, but we all think about things kind of subconsciously all the time. We cannot have a mentally unstable person as President of the United States. And we will have to start collectively making sure that changes are made. And, you know, at least you have to be able to read to be president. I'm going to go on about it a little bit. I can feel it. I'm just warning you. This is fair warning. I happened to see a clip of the Jimmy Kimmel show. It was maybe 2 nights ago, when Jimmy Kimmel brought up that 45 in an interview a few nights ago was going on and on and on and on about Jimmy Kimmel when 45 came to be on his show, which was only once, and he was claiming it was many times that he was on Jimmy Kimmel, but the orange one was claiming that Kimmel was out there and he was greeting him. But when you saw the clip of the orange one being interviewed about how Jimmy Kimmel was over the top about him showing up for the interview, I mean, you maybe look it up, okay? Because to listen to him and to think this person was the leader of the most powerful country in the world, that'll make your hair curl. How many books have been written about him? Oh my gosh, I think we're in the hundreds now. I have a few, and there's a few. Mary Trump's I finished on Audible. I like to listen to books. I read them too, but I like to listen to them. I did finish that one. Too much and never enough, or something like that. Mary Trump's book, Reckoning. Really good one. Really not an easy read because of the racism and the lynching that she brings up. Just, you know, fair warning. All right. I'm picking 3 cards. And now I'm trying to think of what I was talking about 45. Really nefarious stuff going on behind the scenes. Which brings me to September 18th. I don't want anybody to worry about September 18th. What I want everybody to do is to stay calm and to stay peaceful and to send white light to the Capitol, to all the state houses and all the states. Envision no violence, envision it dissipating. The thing is, when you think about it, they don't have their, you know, commander-in-chief leading the show anymore. He's not on Facebook, he's not on Twitter. So, but he is really hoping for something bad, of course. The 2 of Swords is, it's a little bit of a quandary for America, just in terms of what do we do? We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Rest assured, there's tons of intelligence there, you know, because of January 6th, the light there, the light at the end of the tunnel, I guess, is that after January 6th, just like after September 11th, the security got way wicked more beefed up. And that's what's happened now. And Joe Biden is looking better to a lot of people who weren't for him. And I did get guidance that there are people who plan to go on September 18th, and not a small amount, because I'm getting that guidance, that aren't going to show up. that are going to opt out at the last minute. I heard somebody say that the weather might not be good that day. That might keep people away. But also, if you're facing a situation that you want to, go in, but it's the odds of you winning are daunting, you might just decide not to go. It might not be worth it, in other words. I'm sensing for some people, they feel like it's not worth it to go on September 18th. The Ten of Swords is coming up. There's some angry people out there, absolutely. There are some angry people out there, but it's mostly the Republican leaders. It is. It's mostly the Republican leaders. Each time they have the boom lowered down on them, they're getting very angry. This is the last vestiges of separation. I really mean that. We have new generations of people coming up that don't see race. Of course, it's not 100%. I'm just talking in general. Proportionally. This racism thing it is on its last leg, and I know it doesn't look like that to people, but it always gets worse before it gets better. I'm pulling cards about September 18th. Okay, people will be afraid of being arrested and tried. So that lessens the intensity of what people are thinking about doing. It lessens the intensity of it. It's kind of like, yeah, maybe not. Yeah, we could, yeah, maybe not. Today it did pop into my mind, I wonder how many people would go so far as to do what the Taliban does. Suicide bombers, I mean. And I didn't really pick up that would be... We're radical. These people are radical, but they're not that radical. They're not that radicalized. I'm not saying anything good about that. I'm just... Compared to the Taliban, yeah, they're radical, but they're not that radical. The Six of Swords, this is lining it up. Lining it up, it's a balancing act. I just really feel like security is working really hard to cover all the angles. Like they put the fence up around the Capitol. Two of Cups once again. These two cards, the cards with twos, today they really feel like it's about the good people jumping on board to help the good people. Like the Capitol Police. People that are like, and this has sort of remnants of the 9/11 memorial, like when people had this sense of, gotta jump in there and do what I can to help. So, that's good news because people are coming to that sort of a point with this is America. We have to help. We have to all do our part. And so like after 9/11, 2001, people were giving blood like crazy. I'm just making the point that, people joined the military. People really wanted to, they got into that motive. They wanted to help. There's a lot of people from all over the country rushed to New York, first responders and firemen, policemen. That spirit is starting to rise up. That sense of, we can't let this happen. We can't just keep sinking. We can't let this... We can't let America be taken down. And now it's in the face of our own American people. Okay, enough of that. Let's go to Texas. Because there's a lot going on in Texas. It's a big state and it's got big stuff happening. So Texas, the guys are showing me the abortion ban laws rendered ineffective. That's what I'm seeing there. I feel like Abbott's just going to kind of... I don't see him fighting for the abortion ban laws, to be really enforced. And the vigilante thing, that's not going to happen. I just, these ideas are so unpopular. That's why they're trying to steal votes because they want to enforce these highly unpopular ideas, to push them, to force them, to enforce them. And that's why the people have to rise up and you know, like say, okay, that's not very popular and we're going to boot you out and we're going to fight for voting rights. So I'm going to read on him a little bit. Then I want to go to Joe Manchin and the filibuster. Okay, Greg Abbott, what's going on with all his restrictive laws in general, voting rights and the abortion ban? Ooh, I see young politicians intervening. When's he up for re-election? He won't get, the guys just said, Abbott will not get re-elected. So there's a, yeah, I'm actually seeing some young, the guides are funny, they use old words sometimes. Young whippersnappers, I don't even know what that is, coming in, you know, like people that are politicians but young. This is about Texas and Abbott, what he's up against. Not sure who it is. He's losing his power. This is him behind bars. It doesn't necessarily mean he's in jail, but it just means his power will be restricted. Governor Abbott's power will be restricted. And it's the young people moving up into positions of leadership that are going to make a difference. And I see the Princess of Cups is telling me, and I don't have any facts, I don't have any names or anything, but the Princess of Cups is telling me there's a female who's threatening to overthrow his seat. He won't be the governor of Texas anymore. And you know, Texas just got hit with Hurricane, I am losing track, Nicholas? I'm losing track of the hurricanes, there's so many. Just, you know, tropical storm that flooded the coast. I'm telling you, this, you know, living on the coast, it's very frightening to see what even the tropical storms that aren't, you know, full-on hurricanes are doing to our country. If you look at the science models of what global climate change does to the coast, Boston's not going to be here. Oh well. Okay, Manchin and the filibuster. We need our voting rights. We need these laws shot down. There are restrictive laws in every state. The Republicans are just, they're trying, they're hanging on by a thread. They're just clawing away and just hanging on, and we just gotta go, whoop, knock them over. You're out of here. That's a good visualization. You're out of here. You're in my way. You're like a mosquito. Just get out of our way. Manchin and the filibuster. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. Joe Manchin is not a Democrat. He's not a true Democrat. And the reason that I say that Joe Manchin is not a true Democrat is because he's got huge Republican influencers. And he wants to be nice and to play with his Republican friends. So I know that we feel fortunate that he's a Democrat from West Virginia, and that it's good that it's a Democrat. But you know what? I almost think a moderate Republican, like a decent person who is a Republican, would do more for voting rights than Joe Manchin and the infrastructure bill. Like if it was somebody like, I don't know, Mitt Romney or something, would do better than Joe Manchin is doing in terms of fighting for the Democrats. I wish none of us were fighting. The filibuster. I had said in the past that I feel, okay, the Magician card indicates that I was on the right track with that. The filibuster will be changed or thrown out for voting rights. That's what I see. I'm not just trying to tell you what you want to hear. The Six of Cups, they will work something out. I said the other day, I don't know if it was on my video or Bridge, I said Manchin wants to be popular with his constituents. And the more his constituents say they want the infrastructure bill and they want voting rights, the more he's going to go, well, I better go where the money is. Although I don't know why that would be where the money is, but that's what I'm picking up. That's interesting. The Ace of Cups. I get that the filibuster will be thrown out for the voting restrictions anyway. Are we all losing track of the We the People Act? I got to do a little homework and look up, where we're at with that, with voting rights. I'm just thinking about, okay, I want to mention, and I don't know if it's still up, because it does violate the YouTube community comment rules. Somebody actually said this. Stop pushing the vaccines, they're dangerous. And honestly, I never, ever have said on my channel, y'all go out and get that vaccine. I have never, ever said that, nor will I. I won't. I just won't. And I'll just leave it at that. I have no idea why somebody wrote that. Everyone's situation is a little different. Okay. Joe Manchin, filibuster. Yeah, I actually feel it being lifted for the voting rights restrictions. The guides are just telling me, all right, I know it sounds like I'm waxing all like, oh, happy, oh, optimism. Okay, but let me just tell you what I'm really getting. The guides are telling me that the people of the United States are going to start to be heard. Over the next 2 to 3 months, the people of America are going to start to actually be listened to. And it really is that this clarity of these Republicans using the playbook of voter fraud and they know best and, conspiracy and go ahead and get yourself sick and die from this potentially lethal disease. And, the people are going to start to really be listened to because we're in California, there's some really big problems. This country and this world, we're just talking about America right now, this country has some really huge problems. And these guys are over here, it's very, it really reminds me, it's very much like, 45 during his presidency, golfing every weekend on the taxpayer's dollar. We'll start speaking up. We'll start speaking very loudly. We'll start speaking very clearly. Because when somebody has gone too far, Americans are slow on the uptake. But when somebody goes too far in your own life, when somebody keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, and you're like, yeah, all right, whatever, all right, I don't have time to deal with you. I don't have time to, and then they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Eventually you reach a breaking point, don't you? I do. I know you can relate. Americans are going to start being listened to. Get involved. Really important. There's so many other things I could talk about, but let me just look at Florida. Those seem to be my favorite topics, Texas and Florida, just in terms of digging in for information. 45's talking to DeSatan. I'm not sure what about. It just... Isn't 45 in New Jersey? They're still talking. I mean, he's not at Mar-a-Lago anymore. And there's a lot of telltale stuff coming out about Melania, too. Gosh, I don't know what topic to pick first. Let's do DeSatan. DeSatan. Let's do DeSantis. Okay, what's going on in his head right now? The guides just said he does not care about the children. Yeah, he does an override in his mind about the children. Like people that just are able to turn it off, to turn off the compassion. It's very concerning. To turn off the caring. It's very concerning. So, what do the guides have to say about DeSantis? That a woman is going to take him off of his perch? It's 2 of Cups keeps coming up. The reason the Two of Cups keeps coming up is because we're going to reach a point where, like I said, we're going to be listened to. The people are going to be listened to. The Ten of Pentacles. Oh, interesting. Pentacles these days, because there's so many legal, issues going on, Pentacles in many cases are seeming to represent evidence against somebody. There's a lot of evidence against DeSantis. And I think that for a while I was saying, and I still stick by it, DeSantis has done some very illicit, very illegal stuff, and it feels financial, that he's going to be called out on and he's going to be indicted about. As I say indicted, the guys are saying Steve Bannon. Not connected, not directly anyway. Wow, they're showing me Steve Bannon. It's almost like, yeah, they're showing me Steve Bannon leading the charge, and I feel like leading the charge of attackers, and I feel like that's the guy that's telling me that Steve Bannon led the January 6th insurrection, along with 45. I'm telling you, your hair is going to curl. And if it's curly already, it's going to get straight. For how many things we're going to find out. Dropped a card. As usual. Yeah, they're going to be, can't hide the truth. It can be hidden for a while, but you can't hide the truth forever. This represents jail time. Steve Bannon, Manafort, Giuliani, somebody else, going to jail, prison time. That lawyer, Sidney Powell, who actually is already saying that there'll be voter fraud in California. Sidney Powell is already saying that people have already cheated in California. You know what I mean? We will have had enough. We have had enough, but now we have to act. When there's a mosquito swarming around your head and you're trying to work and you're like, a mosquito, and then eventually you can't help it, you just go, smack! I love you guys. I'm glad you're here. I'm talking too long. Weather. I feel 3 major hurricanes. I'm just saying it, all right? I feel 3 major hurricanes. There are other tropical storms, but I feel 3 major hurricanes, and the guides are saying October. So we can wish it away if we want. I'll do my best. Okay, 3 major hurricanes. I'm just asking about weather patterns, and devastation, 8 of Swords, 8 of Cups. Reminded me that I said that there were going to be 8 pretty big hurricanes this season. And I have 2 cards that say 8. This one looks like somebody who's lost everything. We're going to see more and more of that. And this card is representing stealing. And I just want to say about that before we close here for the evening. I was filling up my car with gas the other day, which I don't do often because I don't drive that much. So I just mean I don't have to go to the gas station like every few days, like some people. This particular place where the way the wind was blowing or something, gosh, it was like so gross, the smell of gasoline. In an age with the technology that we have available to us, it's so mind-boggling. If you really go down that wormhole of what we can do with technology nowadays, there are machines that can create a human organ from nothing. And we're still pumping gas into our cars. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up is that this is the dark, dark, dark money that's behind the fossil fuel industry. And that's what's connected to all this devastation. So I'm going to pull 2 more cards to see, are we going to see a shift around that anytime soon? We'll get as close as we can. This is a time for America to really, and not just America, the world too, but for America to really do some soul searching. The Queen of Wands is coming up. This card represented Greta Thunberg before, and I think that's just symbolic. Yeah, after a time, see, all this devastation is going to cause us to collectively, like COVID is doing. I mean, before COVID hit, we were kind of like, whatever, let's do this, let's do that, people flying everywhere. When COVID hit, you know, for better or for worse, for more or less, we did have to take pause. And the Hermit card is about taking pause. We had to think twice about the way we were doing things, that's for sure. A lot of us had to go inward, you know. I already do that a lot, but a lot of people that didn't do that did, and that's not a bad thing. It's unfortunate that it takes a disaster, but anyway. 40 minutes, I gotta go. It's getting warm in here too. It's been really warm in the Northeast. 80 again tomorrow, quite humid. But a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. Take the good stuff and cherish it. Do what you can to be up and to be happy in spite of the darkness. These are the times that challenge us, but we have to keep the vibration high. So whatever you like to do, treat yourself nice, be healthy, have healthy practices, smile, laugh. Take my class, Tarot at the Castle. That's going to be a blast. That's going to be so fun. Pray for the technology to work well. If you'd like to book a personal reading, it happens just like this. We just do a reading for you. It's AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. If I haven't gotten back to you in like a few days, just know that I will. You're on my list. Okay. Thank you. Namaste, and we'll see you soon. I'll be back in a few days. Be well. Bye.